I was a Trump supporter. I don't know how long I can keep doing this.
Damn, MAGA moving out, y'all. MAGA is moving out. If y'all understand the reference, basically, there was a MAGA flag that was flying and shit in my neighborhood. I made a TikTok about it. Some people were like side-eyeing me, which I didn't understand. And then literally 4 months after Trump won the election, these bitches talking about we need to sell our house. Girl, how the man you put in office and promoting for free in front of your house got you having to sell that shit not even a year later? That's ghetto. And I laugh at it every time because I'm petty. I don't care.
The question that keeps me up at night lately is, why is the president spending $1 billion a day on this pointless war while there are Americans who are financing their groceries? It looks like the USA will be Trump's 7th bankruptcy. And remember those idiots who are putting the Biden stickers on the gas pumps that said, I did this, when the price rose above a certain point? Where are they now?
60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself.
890 secured for every generation for life, universal health care for everyone, a livable wage for teachers and nurses so they wouldn't have to pay out of their own pocket for supplies while billionaire fat cats profit. The only war that we should be in today is a war on greed, a war on poverty. Because once that war starts and we take back from the billionaires and the corrupt politicians everything they took from all of us, only then will we truly be America first.
America has literally built a system where being poor is more expensive. And nobody talks about how backwards that is. Like, if you're already struggling, everything costs more. On a bill you couldn't afford? Well, now you owe more. Miss a payment because you were trying to juggle rent and groceries? Well, now your credit drops and you owe even more money. Overdraw your account by a few dollars? Well, now you owe $50. Like, the system punishes you for already being behind. We're always rewarding millionaires while the people that are struggling the most just simply end up paying the most money. But everybody still says, work harder, budget better. The reality right now is the economy is brutal. It is so hard to get ahead right now. How are you supposed to get ahead whenever you fall behind a little bit and the system just keeps pushing you back further and further? Everything is insane right now. Rent is at an all-time high. Groceries are so expensive. I don't understand how we're supposed to get ahead in this economy anymore.
They trying to say you need $94,000 to live comfortably in America. What? Who the hell they talking about? And then this study says if you are two working adults and you got 2 children, you need to be bringing in at least $209,000. Excuse me? See, the first thing I notice is they're talking about average instead of the median. The median salary for a single adult in America is about $42,000. And the median cost for a standard, family, right? 2 kids, right? Is about $78,000. See, this is the game that the media will try to play with you to make you think in your struggle, it's you. No, boo. It's the system. Because basically, the American life is becoming mathematically impossible for most Americans to even live. Right now, the American economy feels like, one of those claw machines. You see the prize, you reach for it, but that claw never actually grabs tight enough to pull it out. So I'm asking, when you hear numbers like this, do they feel realistic to you? Or does it sound like they're describing a life that most Americans will never live?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ruth Reaction, where we break things down with an outsider's perspective and insider clarity. There's a phrase that's been making the rounds online, FAFO, F around and find out. It's blunt, direct, and hard to ignore. Like it or not, it's becoming a lens through which many people interpret today's political and economic realities. Before we go further, full credit to the original creators. Links to their work are in the description. For now, take a look at a few more clips, and I'll be right back with some commentary.
Everybody always asks, well, where's the money supposed to come from to help Americans and to fund social programs? Well, turns out it was there the whole time. In just 6 days of war with Iran, the Trump administration has already spent about $11.3 billion, $11.3 billion, less than a week, mind you, of taxpayer money gone on a war that nobody asked for, nobody voted for, when the president specifically, repeatedly said that he was not going to start. And here's the part that I think should really make everybody stop and think for a second. We are constantly told that there isn't enough money for programs that actually help Americans survive. However, temporary assistance for needy family grants cost about $7.4 billion a year. That's the program that helps the poorest families in the country keep food on the table. The Child Care Development Fund is about $2.4 billion. That helps working parents afford child care so they can actually go to work. The Social Services Block Grant is about $870 million, which funds services for seniors and disabled Americans and vulnerable families. Public health funding through the CDC is about $3.5 billion. And the Health Resources and Services Administration workforce programs are about $1.73 billion. To train doctors and nurses and healthcare workers. Altogether, these programs that support families and childcare and healthcare workers and public health, they cost less than what the United States just spent in under a week on war. Under a week, 6 days. Yet those are the programs that we're told have to be cut or withheld or slashed because of budget concerns.
We are in day 25 or 26 in our third government shutdown. This is a partial government shutdown. TSA working, not getting paid. FEMA working, not getting paid. Coast Guard working, not getting paid. Secret Service working, not getting paid. Also, this is day 11 of the war with Iran. So far, we are at approximately $11 billion in hard costs. I say hard costs because fertilizer, we get 1/4, 25% of our fertilizer from the Strait of Hormuz for food. So farmers are struggling. Expect this to trickle through to your food prices. Oil is going up, gas is going up, and also the supply is being shut down. Virtually nobody is getting through. Will we run out of gas like what is happening in Cuba? Oh, you haven't looked up Cuba? Oh Lord, go look up Cuba. We're finding out that Pete Hegseth spent about $95 billion in September. It's a use it or lose it budget. And he bought crab legs and steaks. Listen, I'm not against crab legs and steaks, but spending money to spend money when it simply could have went back into the budget or against our debt is what should be going on. Not spending $95 billion in a week on crab legs. I'm sorry, we can't afford it. We are in danger of stagflation. We are in a hiring freeze in the United States. The stock market has been absolutely dismal, and it's because of the catastrophe that one man has caused, not just in the USA, but literally there is not a country that is not affected by this attack on Iran. Even if that war stopped today, we have caused catastrophic events that we haven't seen.
This isn't just internet slang anymore. It's become shorthand for what happens when decisions, especially political ones, are made without fully thinking through the consequences. Today, we're looking at how that idea connects to a moment unfolding right now. The collision of political identity, economic policy, and lived reality. Let's talk about MEGA, not just as a slogan, but as a movement, an idea, a promise. For millions, it symbolized a return to strength, stability, and prosperity. It tapped into real frustrations, job loss, cultural shifts, distrust in institutions, and the sense that the system was no longer working for everyday people. Those frustrations were, and still are, completely valid. But this is where things get complicated. Alongside them came a set of policy choices, aggressive trade measures like tariffs, resistance to social programs, strict immigration policies, and a strong push for deregulation. These were framed as solutions, ways to protect workers, bring back jobs, and hold elites or outsiders accountable for economic decline. For many supporters, there was also an underlying belief, spoken or not, that any negative effects would fall on someone else: immigrants, foreign nations, urban elites, the other. But economic policy doesn't work like that. Tariffs don't just hit foreign producers. They raise domestic prices, disrupt supply chains, and increase costs for small businesses, especially in working class and rural communities. Cutting social safety nets doesn't hurt some distant group. It affects families at home who rely on healthcare, food assistance, or unemployment support. Deregulation can boost profits in the short term, but it can also lead to instability, worker exploitation, and long-term fragility. And when politics is driven more by identity and emotion than careful analysis, decisions that feel satisfying in the moment can hit much harder later. That's where the FAFO concept comes in. Because what many people are experiencing now is the find out phase: rising living costs, economic uncertainty, struggling industries that were promised revival, and healthcare becoming more expensive or harder to access. Communities are still waiting for the comeback they were told was just around the corner.
In America, the number one reason people go bankrupt is because they get sick and can't pay their medical bills. Meanwhile, insurance companies churn record-breaking profit year after year. Make no mistake, the system's not broken. It's working just as intended. It's just not working for you. And that's why we can't fix capitalism. We need to get rid of it completely because there's nothing to fix. It's working. It's just not working for us. That's why we need socialism.
Here's the uncomfortable reality. Many of the people feeling this pressure today supported the very policies that helped create it. That's not an attack. It's a pattern.
Y'all, they are lying to us about why these prices are going up and the need for the prices to go up. And CiCi's Pizza and Arizona Iced Tea prove it. And I will explain that all this price is going up is just because of greed. Everything's sky high. So CiCi's Pizza, when I was in college, they're an all-you-can-eat buffet in Florida. I don't know if they got one where you're at. But they cost $5 20 years ago to walk in the door and eat up all the pizza you want for $5. Right now, CiCi's Pizza is $10. In 20 years, they've gone up 100%, but it took 20 years to add $5 to the price tag of that all-you-can-eat pizza. It took 20 years, okay? To put this in perspective, a McChicken, when I was in college, at McDonald's was $1 on the value menu. A McChicken right now is $4. That is a 300% increase in the same amount of time for that one item at McDonald's. It's not to mention that all of the items at McDonald's have gone through the same 300% or more increase. CiCi's managed to keep it at only 100% in 20 years for the entire establishment as a restaurant. Now, if you look at Arizona Iced Tea, the creator of Arizona Iced Tea said to his sons, because the sons wanted to increase the price, he said, we are still making money. We making money hand over fist. We're not going to increase our prices. Even though the sons was like, but we could get more money. He's like, we making money. Why would we increase our prices? See, that's loyalty. That's old school. So the Arizona Iced Tea has not raised their prices. It's funny though, if you do see Arizona Iced Tea for more than $1, it's the location you're buying it at that's paying more. So if you go to like a 7-Eleven or a Wawa or a Walmart or wherever you're supposed to be boycotting, if it's more than $1, that was the company, the building you're in's decision to make that higher. Arizona didn't raise their prices. That man said no. And he said, I am still making money. There's no reason to raise these prices. In 20 years, Arizona hasn't even raised their prices. Despite costs going up, they didn't need to raise their prices. They were still making money. So please, explain to me why every other business is telling you we have to charge more because prices are going up. When CiCi's, it took 20 years to go up $5 on their product, their service. Arizona Iced Tea chose not to even raise the product raise the price for their product / service. They just said, let it ride. We still making money. If you believe these billionaires and Donald Trump and all the people saying when prices go up, everything has to go up. No, it don't. This is straight up greed. All these prices are sky high because of greed. And if we don't acknowledge that, there is no turning back for the Americans. We will not have enough money to continue to afford things, and the structures will collapse.
There's also a psychological layer to all of this, and it matters. When people feel ignored or left behind, they're naturally drawn to movements that promise dramatic change. That's human. When the system feels broken, the instinct is to shake it up. But that desire for disruption can override a harder question. What happens next? It stops being about, will this improve my life? And starts becoming, will this send a message? Or, will this hurt the people I'm frustrated with? That's where things get dangerous. Because once politics becomes a tool for emotional expression instead of problem solving, outcomes become unpredictable and often counterproductive. You make a choice based on how it feels in the moment, then live with what it actually does. And that's what many people are facing now. Not in theory, not in headlines, but in everyday life. At the grocery store, at the gas pump, in their paychecks, in their medical bills. That's the part you can't ignore. When reality starts to contradict belief, something has to give. Either the belief changes, or the explanation becomes more complicated, more strained, more disconnected from lived experience. And we're seeing both. Some people are stepping back, looking at the results, and asking, is this actually working for me? Others are doubling down, finding new explanations, new targets, new reasons why things aren't going as expected. Both reactions are human, but the FAFO moment doesn't disappear just because it's uncomfortable. It shows up in your bank account, in your daily expenses, in the gap between what you were promised and what you're actually living. And that's why this conversation matters. Because it's not just about one movement or one moment. It's about a broader lesson. How we make decisions, how we evaluate policies, and whether we look beyond short-term emotional satisfaction to consider long-term impact. What will this actually do? Who will it affect? What are the unintended consequences? If those questions aren't asked up front, they get answered later. That's the find out part. So where does that leave us? At a crossroads. A moment where people across the political spectrum can reflect. Focusing on outcomes over intentions, results over rhetoric. And maybe most importantly, moving away from the idea that hurting someone else will somehow improve your own situation. Because time and again, that proves to be an illusion. The systems we live in are interconnected. You don't just export pain, you absorb it. That's the real lesson. And it goes beyond politics. It's about accountability for the choices we make, the policies we support, and the outcomes we help create, whether we intended them or not. Because in the end, reality doesn't bend to belief. It responds to action. And when those actions have consequences, we all live with them. So the real question isn't just who's to blame. It's what do we learn from this? So what do you think? Do we keep making decisions driven by emotion and identity? Or start demanding policies grounded in reality, evidence, and long-term thinking? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to keep this conversation going. And if you enjoyed this, I've got another video picked out just for you. Go ahead and check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow and gets this conversation in front of more people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.